It's a big parsha, but there's something that stands out. There is a famous hesped that Arizal gave for the Ramak, the Moshe Cordovero. One of the big Mekubolim, and it was at that period, which was the awakening of the Kabbalah in Tzfas, 500 years ago in Tzfas, was Moshe Cordovero. Moshe Cordovero, as his name would suggest, comes from Cordoba, which is a family that was from the Anusim that came from Spain. He was born in the year 1522. He passed away in the year 1570. When the Arizal came from Egypt to the city of Tzfas, he didn't come into a vacuum. It was a city that was filled with Nigla, the students of the Mari Beirav, Rabbi Yosef Cairo, who wrote the Shulchan Aruch, and the great Kabbalist of the day was Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, who wrote dozens of Svarim, and many of his teachings are quoted in Chassidus. His main sefer is called Pardes Rimonim, Toimed Voira, Sefer Elima. The Moshe Cordovero was from the few students that received the smicha from the Mari Beirav. There was a sage in the Tzfas that thought that he can bring back the smicha. Originally there was smicha. Smicha was that Moshe Rabbeinu gave permission to Yehoshua to adjudicate, and Yeshua gave to the Zkenim, and one gave to the other, and then the chain was broken. The Rambam writes in Hilchas Sanhedrin, Yeroa Ali, would seem to me that if all the sages of Israel get together, they can reinstitute the smicha. And the Mari Beirav tried to reinstitute the smicha, and then there was one of the sages of Yerushalayim that didn't like it, and the whole thing fell apart eventually. But first, he thought he's going to bring back the smicha, and there was a strong awakening. There was a great excitement around it had some messianic undertones too. When I say messianic, I don't mean a negative way. I mean there was like an excitement that Ashiva Shiftach Kevarishona V'Yatzach Kevatchila V'Achir Kein Yikar Lecho Ira Namona, that the first we're going to reestablish the judges among Yiklal Yisrael, and then Mashiach is going to come. One of the few that received the smicha was Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. His teacher in Nigla was Rabbi Yosef Cairo. He had a brother-in-law, illustrious brother-in-law and teacher in Kabbalah, who was Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz. Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz is known to us.
Lechadodi.
Lechadodi?
All buried together.
Right, they're buried together now. When you go to Tzfas, they're all buried very close to each other. Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz, the Beis Yosef, the Arizal. So Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz was his teacher in Nister, and they used to take long walks. They used to go to the Kivrei Tzadikim, to the Miron. They go from Tzfas to Miron. Today, Tzfas to Miron, you get into your car in 20 minutes, you get there, right? But
walking is like 2 hours.
Yeah, and also the roads are paved now. Baruch Hashem, you have now good roads.
Then it was maybe 2-3 hours.
Yeah, so they used to, and they used to call these long walks, he used to call it Gerushin. What does it mean, Gerushin? Gerushin means divorce. For a Jew to connect to Hashem, a Jew has to rip himself away to his everyday lech lecham, artzacham, eladtacham, everyday routine. Rip myself away from the regular routine. So he would call it, I'm divorcing myself from my regular routine. And he would walk with his brother-in-law for a few hours, and they would talk about Kabbalah, and they would go and daven at the kvarim of the tzaddikim. He has many of his students are known to us today. For example, in Lubavitch, one of the big musas for him is the Reishis Chochma. The Belio Dividash. In every Lubavitch house you find the Reishis Chochma. He was a student of the Moshe Cordovero, the Rabbi Menachem Mipanu, who came from Italy. And he studied by the Moshe Cordovero. He brought back the Kabbalah of his Rebbe. The thing is, there was so much stories around him about his piety. He grew up very poor, and his tzidkes, they said that Eliyahu he came every day in the Beis Medrash and teaching him Seidas HaTorah. They don't say it about me and you, so whatever happened, in his Beis Medrash must have been great if they decided to say about Reb Moshe Cordovero that Eliyahu comes there every day and teaches Torah. And it said that at his funeral there was a flame of fire that came around his coffin. The thing is that very quickly his glory and his fame took a back seat, because after he passed away, who took over? The Arizal. And if you think that Lubavitch, people always ask him, why is it you come to Lubavitch Beis Medrash? You only see Lubavitch Svarim. Which happens to be not true, but showing someone. See, the other day I was in Landos. I said, why is it when I come to your shul, there's only Lubavitch Tedurim? I said, you know what? Make a deal. I'll give you $100 for every Lubavitch that you find me in Lando. I'll give you and you give me $5 for every not Lubavitch that you find the base of Malach Mendel. Baruch Hashem, I think I'll pay my mortgage this month. It happens to be not so true anyway, but be it as it may. Naniach it was true. Naniach it was true.
The reason was must him on this.
So but before we get to that, it's amazing. Reb Chaim Vital also learned by the Moshe Cordovero. When the Arizal took over, when he passed away, and he became a student of the Arizal, he was so taken by the Arizal. This is what he writes. This is quoted in many places. Reb Chaim Vital wrote like this. This is the words of Reb Chaim Vital.
Where is he buried, Reb Chaim Vital?
In Damascus.
Next to... No,
No, I don't think so.
He wrote like this.
Who's this?
The Reb Chaim Vital, the student of Arizal. Kol sifrei hamukubalim achrei Ramban al techaber aleim. Don't connect to it. Don't waste your time over it. Kimin haRamban ve'elech nistere derech hachochma zois me'ene kol ve'lo nisha be'em kim k'tzatz anafi akadmoines bilti l'shorasheim ve'aleinu bomnu hamukubalim achrei devreim b'seichel anushi. All these books that were written, the Kabbalim, they didn't see it straight in the sky. It was based on what they understood.
Amen.
Ki me'atzmecha tuchel ladas, ala mivchen kema'ayin hachorutz, yuchel leide roiv akadom asayim v'klol asayim ba'arba b'chamisha yom. V'chol divreim keifel ha'inyan b'mila shoynas. Very sharp. He said all that, you can learn it in 4 or 5 days. Well, besides what my Rebbe says, that'll take you 80 years to learn. That everything else is not worth spending your time with. Apiak damasayim, the esesvidus, v'chibru tila tilu shosfonim, be'inyan zer, asher klolos divreim yikosvu be'beize be'gimel kuntresa. V'anshe leiv yishmu li al yersu lidas b'sifrei acharayim abdoim al pisech lanushi. So, I think this is the linchpin to the Lubavitch attitude for those that... It's not chas v'sholom a disrespect to any of the Sforim that are written in Torah, Kabbalah, and Chassidus throughout the generations. It's just like the Reb Chaim Vital, when he started learning from his Rebbe, the Arizal, the way he saw it, in his perspective. The Arizal saw it straight in heaven. Everyone else was b'seichel anushi. So why you waste your time learning the Sforim that are telling you b'seichel anushi when the Arizal saw it straight in heaven? Hey, you can see it. He's telling it to you. Well, why would you waste your time? That's the Chabad attitude. Why spend your time learning?
Go to the soul.
Why waste your time learning all these Sforim? The Alter Rebbe saw it. The Baal Shem Tov saw it straight there. Okay, I'm just telling you what I think is the Chabad attitude. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just telling it to you as I see. But for sure, this was Reb Chaim Vital's attitude. That my Rebbe, the Arizal, he saw it straight in heaven. Everyone else, that was what they understood. It's what they understood. It's not bad, he said. In 4 or 5 days, you can figure it all out. But my Rebbe, he saw it straight in heaven. So I think the Chabad attitude is similar to that. All the Sifrei Hayira, it's not bad. But the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe, they saw it straight. Okay. When the Reb Moshe, the thing is like this. that even though the Reb Chaim Vital says this, the fact is that till today the Moshe Cordovero is quoted in all the Sforim of the Mekubalim. So he's not, even though Reb Chaim Vital said, he said, my first Rebbe, the Moshe Cordovero, was just there to pave the road for Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. But the fact is that he's quoted everywhere. And therefore the question is, what's the difference between him? The interesting sichas from the Rebbe. One is, there is some Mekubalim that said that Moshe Cordovero explains things from Toyu, and that Arizal explains from Tikkun. The Rebbe says it can't be. Toyu means destruction, chaos. Why would the Ramak waste his life teaching us about worlds that are chaos? That's nonsense. In Tikkun itself, there's Toyu Shebetikun and Tikkun Shebetikun. The Rizal was Tikkun Shebetikun, the Ramak was, but all within the world of Tikkun. The bottom line is there was many contributions that the Ramak made to Kabbalah, which is considered the bread and butter of Kabbalah till today. For example, this concept of oiris and kalim, lights and vessels, was introduced by the Moshe Cordovero. A very, very important thing to understand, the idea of lights and vessels. This was introduced by the Moshe Cordovero. Oiris and kalim, yes. Like, many of the Mekubalim was struggling with, if we say that God has 10 spheres, so God is kind, chesed, God is gvura, but how could you say that? That's attributes, that's only for human. Or God reveals himself that way. The Arizal said that both are right. There's the light and there's the vessels. He gave that mushal of 10 glasses, that you have a blue glass, a red glass, a purple glass, a orange glass. You have, and you put in water. It looks like the water has 10 different colors. It's really the same thing. God is infinite, but he reveals himself to the world in 10 colors. But God is not chesed or gevura. He reveals himself through this mashal comes to us from his courtesy of the Moshe Cordovero. When he passed away, the Rabbi Yitzchak Luria cried bitterly at his funeral. And Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, the Arizal said a hesped. What was a very short eulogy? What was the eulogy? It says in this week's parasha, which is the chitas of tonight. Ki beish chet mishpat moves, v'salisa oisai al eitz. If a person was killed by Bezdin, that they would put him after he was killed. They would put him up on a tree. We're not allowed to leave him there only till sunset. You're not allowed to leave him for any longer, for everyone to see that he was killed. And a few hours later, they would lower the body and they would bury it. So that Arizal said, "Ki beish chet mishpat mavis." What does that mean? The word chet means chet technically means sin, but the real meaning of the word chet means lacking. Ki beish chet, he's lacking. We don't understand. Why is it that he died? Mishmas mavis. There's a lack of explanation why the man died. He was so pure and so angelic. Why did he die? V'solisa oisai al eitz. You should hang it on the eitz adas. You should know that he died for no sin. The reason he died was because of the reason of the eitz adas. That's what the Rizal said about the Ramak. In other words, that he didn't die for any sin. He died because that's the way God made it in the world. It has to do with the eitz adas, with the fruit of Adam Rishon. No fault of his. Okay. Now we know that there's a Gemara, Shabbos and Baba Basra. The Gemara says, "Arba meisu be'etiv shel nochash," that there were 4 human beings who died without any sins. They only died because of the nochash, because of the snake, because of the advice that the snake gave to the woman. One of them is the father of David the Melech, Yishai. Gemara proves how each one of these 4 personalities were absolutely pure of sin. Maybe not be the most popular personalities, but these are the 4 that never had any sin. It sounds like, on the surface, it sounds like that Israel is saying that, okay, now we have a 5th man on the list. who didn't die. Everyone dies for sins. The Rebbe says if you look closely at the words of the Arizal, that's not the case. The Gemara says, Arba Mesu Etyoy Shal Nochesh. They died from the slyness of the snake. In other words, we're talking about slyness. We're talking about evil. We're talking about...
Wait, that's the meaning of the word be'etyai?
The advice that Rashi says. Etya means atzosa.
Eitza.
Eitza.
The test is what it sounded.
Yeah. Etya is eitza. Atzosa shel nochesh. Atzosa shel nochesh. The Arizal is saying that the Moshe Cordovero passed away because the eitz. The eitz, if you just look at the tree, Eitz Adas was not a bad thing. On the contrary, it's called Eitz Adas. It was called the tree of knowledge. Had he waited, he was supposed to eat the fruit, but he should have waited 3 hours until Shabbos. One of the opinions is that it was a te'ena, right? A te'ena is a fig. It's one of the 7 fruits that Yisrael is praised. The eitz is not a bad thing. The snake is a bad one. The advice of the snake is evil. The snake is evil. The tree is a tree of knowledge. A tree of knowledge is not a bad thing. In other words, if you look at it in a deeper level, the Medrash says that when God created the world, on the first day He already created the angel of death. But wait, you will ask, wait a minute, it doesn't add up. The first day He created the angel of death. Man was created which day? Day 6. He didn't sin till 3 hours before Shabbos. Hey, what's going on over here? It doesn't add up, says the Medrash. It doesn't add up. Why would you need an angel of death? On day 1, Adam Rishon was not created yet. The Medrash says, there's one pasuk that answers the question. Noira alila al b'nei Adam. It says in Tehillim that God made an incredible test for the human being. They were not going to go out alive from this test. They weren't going to make it. God set it up this way that He put in the Eitz Adas. That was going to bring the death to the world. Obviously, this medrash is a very complicated medrash. It's hard to understand what is the medrash saying. But whatever the pshat in the medrash is, the tree the tree is not an evil thing. The tree is not evil. The snake is evil. The tree is not evil. So if you're looking at the Gemara and the Nigla part of Torah, that every person in this world that dies, there's something of the snake involved over here. It's a negative thing. In the Pnimius of Torah, according to Kabbalah, no, there has to do with God's plan. It has to do with God's plan. It has to do with the Eitz Adas. It has to do with the Eitz Adas. In other words, you could say there's 2 types of tzaddikim. There is a tzaddik that maybe they did nothing wrong in their life, but there is the poison that the snake put into the Adam and Chava. There is something evil that went into them, like the Alter Rebbe says in the Torah Or and Mishpatim, that there is every human being. There isn't even a good person. A person judges everything based on how do I feel about it. Do I think it's good? Do I think it's bad? Do I like it? Do I hate it? Who are you? Why are you judging everything from me? Why are you the center of the universe? But that comes from the Nochash HaGadmoni. It's very hard to run. We can't escape from our own skin. That's the way human beings are. This thing that, the story that that Aaron of Karlin had a friend. They both learned at the Magid. And the friend once came to visit, forgot the name of the other tzaddik, 2 friends, and one of them was at Aaron of Karlin. And Aaron of Karlin, his friend, came to visit him. He was knocking the door. He said, "Who's at the door?" He said, "Ich." It's I. They recognize his friend's voice. Aaron didn't open the door at first. When he finally opened the door, he said, "Ich? I? Isn't that all that we learned by the Magid, morning, evening, and night? That there is no I? Ich?" But that's the way people are. I. Everything is measured Do I think it's good? Do I think it's bad? Do I like it? Do I not like it?
iPad.
So exactly. So that thing is from the Nochosh. Okay, but the truth is, according to the Pnimius HaTorah, the Nochosh only was able to. So a person sometimes has poison in them, right? Like how deep does the poison go in a person? Rahman al-Islam, cancer. Rahman al-Islam, it could go into a person. It could spread all over the body. There's nothing you can do, Rahman al-Islam. There's no medicine. There's no cure. There's nothing can be done for it. Or you could extract it. You could expunge it. You could take it out. How deep did it get in? How much did it get in? This zoom of the Nochash, according to Pnimis HaTorah, it only is in the external of the Jew, in the character of a person, of a human being. True, every human being has this poison of the Nochash HaKadmoni from the snake. Every human being has it, but it's only in the crust of the personality. In the neshama itself, is absolutely pure. The neshama. So that Izal was saying that Reb Moshe Cordovero was in such a level that the essence of his neshama was so revealed and was so strong in his life, was so prevalent in his life, that there was no et yashal nachash, there was no poison by him. He only died because the Eibishter set it up. Why did the Eibishter make death? There must be a good reason for it, right? A death that comes from the snake is a negative thing. It's poison. So if poison, a person dies from eating poison. But death that comes from Hashem Yisborach must be something exalted in order to elevate someone to a higher level. Like we have my Morim Chassidus and Pasha Shemini talking about the Mashiach will come. There's going to be the great big battle between the Shored Abor and the Levyosan. And one is going to kill the other one. It's going to be this big fish. It's going to wobble out of the water. And this big bull. And there's going to be this great big fight. And the Levyosan is going to manage to slaughter with his napirim, with his he's going to with his skin, with his pointy skin, the sharp skin. He's going to be able to kill this bull, and the bull is going to kill the fish with his big fat horns. So it's explained the Chassidus that what it means on a spiritual level. There has to be something positive about this. So when the Gemara is talking about et yashal nochosh, what do you think when you think about a nochosh? You think about poison, zuama. The Talmud always says the zuama, the poison that was given by the nochosh. When the Arizal talks about v'salisa oitzel eitz, death has to do with the eitz. There's no negative we're talking about here. So it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about the crust of a human being, over there could be poison. If you're talking about the essence of a Jew, there's no poison there. That's why we say the Gemara, and it's brought in Halacha and Hilchas Gerushin, that a person has to bring a korban. He has to bring it from his free will. So a person doesn't want to bring it. He doesn't want to spend the $50, $75. So they hit him till he opens his wallet. Now thereafter, he charges a credit card over there at the Beis HaMikdash. They charge it up and down with plus taxes, so $75 plus $8 taxes. Okay, now you wait, you have the korban. So now they ask him, you want to bring the korban? It has to be let it soin at his boch. It has to be from your good free will. He says, no, I'm not interested to give a korban. So they whip him again. They whip him until he says, Roitzani. That doesn't help. What kind of joke is this? You whipped him to pay the money, okay. But now you're whipping him until he says, Roitzani. What good is it? No. The Rambam says that every single Jew wants to do the mitzvah. Now that you're hitting him, so his Yetzer Hara got so weak, so he's saying the truth of what he really wants. He really wants to do the mitzvah. He really wants to do the mitzvah. So now he's saying the truth. So that's what the Arizal is saying. That by the Ramak, there was a revelation of the Etzem HaNeshama. So if you're looking at the Gemara says that 4 people, they didn't die, they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. They never cheated anyone. They never went into the grocery store and as much as cheated the guy for 50 cents. They never hurt a man's feeling. They never hit anyone. They never hurt anyone. They never cheated anyone. They never, the finest people. The father of David the Melech Yishai never hurt they couldn't kill a fly. Okay, but we say that he did have in him the poison of the Nachash. He had in him that poison, therefore he couldn't live forever. The Arizal says, no, the Pnimius HaTorah, when you learn the secrets of the Torah, you find that there's a secret part of the Neshama, which is not tainted by the poison of the Nachash, and is really pure, 100% pure, and 100% beautiful. You just have to reveal it. By learning Pnimius HaTorah, you reveal the secrets of Torah. You reveal the secret of the soul, and the secret of the human soul is perfect. The secret of a Yid is perfect, and that's why by the Moshe Cordovero, who learned and was teaching Pnimius HaTorah, he revealed the Pnimius of his neshama, and the Pnimius neshama is perfect. So why is it deaf? Oh, because from spirit eitz, has to do with the eitz hadas, a spiritual reason, a higher elevation, but not because of any poison. So what's the bottom line? What do we take from this? So what's negated to us? A eulogy that was said 500 years ago. Why is it important for us to know a eulogy that was said 500 years ago? Because this is very important for us. We have to know that through learning Pnimius HaTorah, the secrets of the Torah, which talks about the secret of our neshama, it reveals the secret of our neshama. Just like when Moshe Cordovero was learning the Pnimius HaTorah and teaching Pnimius HaTorah, Yafutza Manasecha Chutza, he was teaching it. So in his own soul was revealed the Pnimius of his neshama, to the extent that when he died, it was clear to everyone around him that he didn't die not only from sin, he didn't even die because he had in him evil, because he had in him gasus, he had in him that poison of the Nachash HaGadmanu. No, it was for a spiritual reason. God knows why. Until Tchias HaMeisim, God Noira Lila Bnei Adam. So that's the lesson from this parsha. For Talisa Al Eitz, that even though, just like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that why is it so important that the Torah tells us about the holiness of Moshe Rabbeinu? Great, so Moshe Rabbeinu was a very holy man. What does that have to do with me and you? Because the Alter Rebbe says, Mi uzash ve'ezahu ash'orav libo lageshes afila echad mine olaf madrege ava serai mehemna. Who is going to try to say, I can emulate 1% of 1,000 of the level of piety of Moshe Rabbeinu, of his love to Hashem? B'kol makom, the Alter Rebbe says, however, hari efes katseu v'shemetz menu meir l'chol Yisrael b'chol davador. Something of the Moshe Rabbeinu shines in the heart of every single Jew. So therefore we have to learn about it in order to be able to emulate it. Maybe not on this level, but on our level we could do a little bit of it. So same thing here. It's important to know about the hesped of the Arizal to the Moshe Cordovero, because that's the truth. The truth is that every Jew is that way. Every Jew, the zuama, the poison, only goes into the external. The pnimius of the neshama was never tainted. The pnimius neshama is always beautiful and clean and devoted to Hashem and is loyal, absolutely loyal, and is never conniving at all, and is always honest and always straight. It's just our job to reveal the pnimius of the neshama, the essence of the neshama. And the best way to do it is by learning the pnimius of Torah. So we should be zoche in this Chodesh Elul, that we should learn the pnimius of Torah, we should learn the pnimius of the neshama, and we may be zoche to Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meira b'yameinu mamash.
Amen.